Infrastructure and support for a long-term sustainability should consist transparency to attract investments. Talking Point is certainly privileged to connect with the BOI chairman, Mr. Dinesh Weerakkody. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What are the key factors that make Sri Lanka an attractive destination for foreign investors?
So thank you first of all for having me on this program. So if you look at all the surveys that have been done and shared with the Board of Investment and also with the government, I think there are 3 or 4 things that are very attractive to foreign investors. One is talent. For example, we have the highest pool of accountants outside the UK in Sri Lanka. Then of course the literacy rate is 90% and the highest in South Asia. Then of course the location advantage, and as a country I think we have not still exploited that fully, so there's a lot of opportunity there in terms of making Sri Lanka a global hub and a transshipment point. So the president actually is doing a lot of work around that to attract some of the big multinationals to come and set up in Sri Lanka.
So as you have clearly mentioned, Mr. Weerakkody, there is some kind of an platform which has been already created to keep the prominence with regard to the location, isn't it?
Yeah, in terms of shipping, I think we have one of the best ports. We have been expanding. I think there's the Hambantota port which needs to be developed. It has become a fairly decent transshipment hub for vehicles. They are looking at actually developing the land within the port to make it a free port, so that they can encourage manufacturing in the free port. But in addition to that, I think we need to make sure the infrastructure is also in place in terms of power, water, and so the government is actually investing, and there's a lot of programs in progress at the moment. So hopefully once those are addressed, I think we should be able to attract more investment into those ports.
So when it comes to the Board of Investment, how do you identify and promote emerging sectors with growth potential?
So we have identified one critical area, that is technology services. So we have looked at a new product which we will be launching very soon. It was an idea of the president, and we are looking at attracting 100 new IT services companies into the country, and we have come up with a special incentive package as well, and it's going to be a PPP. So we are going to work with Slascom and an Indian partner in order to promote IT investments into the country.
Because
we are also
there is no denial that they are IT giants, isn't it?
And also we are working with the university system as well to produce more technicians, because we produce around 20,000, but the demand is very much more. So we are working very closely with some of the private universities as well as Morotua to try and see whether we can bump up the numbers and develop a good solid talent pool.
Also with the Sri Lankan support?
Yes.
When it comes to the government and ensuring that foreign investors have access to the necessary resources such as skilled labor and reliable utilities, what sort of a viewpoint do you share?
So on the talent side, I think we have had an issue. People have been migrating in the last 2 years, and we have lost a lot of good talent overseas. But we saw this happening in 2008 as well during the war. At that time, I think people ran away because they were scared of their security. But last year, a lot of people went because it was a lifestyle issue and livelihoods plus security. And I can see a lot of these people slowly coming back, right? So I think these are cycles, and we need to have the capacity to manage them. And we need to, as a country, invest very much more in developing our talent. We're not spending enough on education.
So that should be prioritized.
Yes.
What steps are being taken to ensure consistency and transparency in regulations and approvals?
Yeah, so governance has been an issue. For example, BOI has been in existence for 45 years. We have mobilized only $23 billion. Vietnam does it in 1 year. Right, so we have been doing a lot of research to find out why. So we have identified 3 things. One is consistent policies. So we have had a legacy of where we keep changing policies every couple of years. Every time a government change, things are changed. So I think we need to stop that. because we need to have consistency. Because if you're getting the big multinationals in for here for the long term, they want consistency. Then number two is the talent. A lot of the IT companies say that we have great talent here, but some of the other sectors say we don't have the right kind of skills. So 250,000 young people sit for their A-levels, and about only 40,000 enter the university system. Another 10,000 will do other things, and about 5,000, 2 to 3,000 go overseas. So we need to build the education system in such a way that we bring some of the best universities into the country, so that we can develop our own people as well as attract people from overseas. So I think so that is number two. And then a lot of people feel that we are not making use of our location advantage. Right, so we need to have great policies. I think, but Mr. Lalita Mudali and all did in the 70s and the 80s. I think we need to start replicating those. And I think the important thing is governance and transparency. And I think the critical thing is we need to stop these ridiculous delays in approvals. And towards that end, the president is looking at a new initiative called Invest Sri Lanka, where he's going to bring all the agencies involved in approvals under one roof, so that now sometimes it takes 6 to 12 months to give approvals. We need to bring it down to at least 4 weeks maximum, because no investor is going to wait here for approvals, because there are so many other opportunities regionally.
Certainly.
Right. So these are some of the things we are addressing currently, and of course the digital transformation, where you minimize the human intervention, so that all the customer touch points are digitized.
For a frictionless transaction, isn't it?
Yes.
Could you kindly elaborate on the tax incentives and other benefits that the Sri Lankan government offers to foreign investors?
So at the moment, we don't offer any tax incentives, but if you register as a BOI company, we give you duty-free access to the raw materials. And if you're a big investor in infrastructure and machinery and all, you get capital allowances, which you can write off over a period of 10 years. And the third thing is you get your visas to work here. But we are looking at new incentives, given the fact that we need to compete with other markets in the region. We are at the moment working on some new incentives. But the Port City incentives were approved a few weeks ago. And we offer 25 years for primary investors who put in more than $100 million. And for the secondary investors also, we are looking at 25 years. Depending on their investment. Yeah, so Sri Lanka is ready, and we are ready to do business with the world.
Certainly a very promising note, certainly a very progressive note, and I think we have got a very clear insight as to what sort of regulations are being expedited to attract more foreign investors for a promising Sri Lanka.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for connecting with Talking Point, Mr. Dinesh Weerakkody.
Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.